Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original piece, Throw R.A. Grief Wife, posted on r/True Off My Chest, November 27th, 2023. I'm considering divorcing my wife because she can't get over her mom dying. Yeah, I know. Everyone is fired up at the title and ready to tell me what an asshole I am. To those people, I implore you to read the rest of this post before making a judgment. My 36 male, wife's 33 female, mother passed away 5 years ago from lung cancer. It was not peaceful or an easy death. Our lives understandably went on pause after the diagnosis, and we both spent a lot of time off work, helping care for her mother. My wife had a pretty typical showing of grief at the time, cycling through different stages, same with our 3 kids. After she passed, however, my wife got really bad. I totally understand this. I can't say I know exactly what she went through because I haven't had a parent die, but I understand how devastated she was. For months after, she could barely function. I gently took over pretty much all the responsibilities in the household with the kids. She had been attending grief counseling since the diagnosis and continued after the death. None of this is the problem. I endeavored to be as supportive as possible. She cried on my shoulder every night for months, and I just thought this was the worst of, for better or worse. The problem is that after 5 years, she does not seem any better or more functional. She stopped grief counseling about 4 years ago and refuses to go again, stating it would not help her and that nothing could. About a month after any major holiday, she will have a major downturn. In bed half of the day, crying all day, does not want to interact with the family, does not have the energy to do anything around the house. This will go on every single day until about a week after the holiday ends. Every holiday is intense grief, just as much now as it was 5 years ago. October, November, December, and January, her mom's birthday month, every year are particularly bad. I am essentially without my wife and am a single parent to my 3 kids. Altogether, she is completely incapacitated by grief for about 6 months out of the year, and has been the past 5 years. When I say incapacitated, I mean incapacitated. When she is in the depths of her grief, she is completely incapable of intimacy with me or the kids. There is no cuddling, spending time with us, going on family outings. I don't have sex for half the year. I've stopped asking her if she wants to talk about it because she can't get any words out between sobs if she tries. What hurts the most is that my kids have stopped asking or being concerned. If they see their mom in bed when they get home, they just go about their day and might casually mention, "Oh, mom is sad today," if their siblings or I ask where she is. They don't really seek affection with her anymore because they rarely get anything more than tears. I've discussed this with therapists, my parents, friends, etc., and I know all the rebuttals people have for this, so let me preempt them. She is unwilling to go back to therapy for grief counseling or to see a doctor for depression. Yes, I know she's severely depressed. I can't force her to go to the doctor. I've tried so much. Yes, it really is just as intense as it was 5 years ago. No, I never tell her to get over it or blow her off. On my worst days, I just give her space and leave her be. Most days, I try to offer her some comfort. If you want to judge me for leaving her alone, whatever. But know that I feel like I essentially have caretaker fatigue at this point. No, she does not have a history of depression, but she does have ADHD. Don't know if that's relevant. I feel like my wife died when her mom died. I would do anything to get her back, even a small piece of her. But she doesn't seem willing or able to move on past her mom's death. I feel awful for considering a divorce, but I don't know what else to do. First update, November 29th, 2023, 2 days later. I posted a few days ago. You can check my profile for the post. I just kind of threw that post together as a stream of consciousness vent on my break at work. I didn't go back and look at it until later because I assumed it would get buried since I've never had anything I posted get any major attention, and honestly, I thought I was going to get eviscerated in the comments for being insensitive or uncaring. I was floored by the number of responses and really kind DMs I got and felt a little overwhelmed at the idea of responding to them all, so I figured I would post an update here. A few people mentioned I should have her involuntarily admitted to a medical facility. I didn't mention in the original post, but I did ask our family doctor about that, maybe a year ago, and he told me that unless she is a threat to herself or others, it's unlikely to happen. I looked this up as well, and that appears to be true for the state we live in. I do agree that she needs medical treatment. I suspect that during her year of grief counseling after her mom's death, that she was not honest with her counselor. I have a distinctly sad memory of her coming home after one of her last sessions and telling me that her counselor said she probably wouldn't need to go much longer. Then she went and laid down on the bed and cried. I haven't been able to convince her to go back to counseling. However, I'm glad I posted to Reddit because somehow I hadn't really considered that she might need more intensive treatment than just counseling. I also saw one comment that scared the hell out of me, that she may do something drastic if I give her a divorce ultimatum. With those things in mind, I don't think doing that is the way to go. Instead, I'm planning to write her a letter explaining how we need her back, and that we love her and care for her deeply, but she needs more help than we can provide alone, and tell her that she needs to go to the doctor and be honest about what she's going through. Thank you for your advice, everyone. Update. December 5th, 2023. 6 days later. I wasn't planning to post again, but got a lot of supportive messages asking for an update, so here we go. My soon-to-be ex-wife has completely lost her fucking mind. After my last post, I spent a couple of days writing the letter to her. In it, I explained that the kids and I love her dearly, and that we're concerned for her. I outlined all the worrying behavior and told her that I believe she needs to seek additional medical care. I explained that it sounded like she had complex grief, thank you everyone who pointed that out, and that the grief therapy she went to years ago was insufficient to help her get through it. I did not say anything about potentially divorcing her, but did say that the kids can't continue to live in their current situation. It was a long letter, and I don't really feel like transcribing it here. I read the letter to her the same night I finished writing it after the kids had gone to bed. After I finished reading, she just stared right through me, 1,000-yard stare for probably 15 minutes, then finally stood up and started walking to the door. I panicked and tried to stop her, asked her where she was going. Can we talk about this? I'm concerned for your safety. She rolled her eyes at me and said in the coldest voice I've ever heard her use, "I hope when your parents die, someone doesn't tell you to get over it." After that, I didn't try to stop her. I just let her go. I was pissed off for maybe 5 minutes before the panic set in. I legitimately thought she was going to end herself. I checked my phone and she had turned her location off. I called and texted probably 50 times over the next hour, begging her to at least let me know she was okay and that she wasn't going to do something drastic. Right before I was about to call the police, I got a call from her phone. I answered immediately, and before I could get much of anything in, a man's voice told me, "She's fine, but she doesn't want to talk to you," and hung up. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience at the time. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I almost called the cops anyway, but I was disassociating hard and talked myself out of it. I kept calling her phone all night, but no one picked up again. After about 2 a.m., it started going straight to voicemail. I barely slept that night. When I woke up the next day, she wasn't home. I took the kids to school/daycare. I normally do this, and my wife is normally still asleep while I do. So thank God they didn't ask where mom was. I tried calling my wife's phone more all morning, but still, voicemail. I called her office and asked if she was at work, and they told me that she had called in sick. I called in sick to work as well and basically just sat on my couch trying to get a hold of her while being a nervous wreck. I called my mom as well and asked if she could pick the kids up from school today and watch them overnight. I didn't tell her everything that was going on yet, just that something had come up that was urgent and I needed some help. My wife walked in the door sometime after 4 p.m. I tried to hug her and she shied away from me. I asked her where she had been. No response, just a blank stare. I asked her who had called me from her phone. No response. Blank stare. At this point, I was frustrated and told her that if she didn't want to explain what was going on, she could get the fuck out. I regret saying it that way now, but holy shit, I was frustrated. So she started talking, but it was like I was talking to a text-to-speech AI with her voice. No emotion, totally flat, almost annoyed. She told me that she had gone to her friend John's, fake name, house. I had no idea who the fuck John was, and asked her to explain further. Over a 2-hour or so conversation where I had to pry details out of her, I got most of the story. She was answering like a lawyer, very basic answers, no details or context outside of exactly what I was asking her. Basically, John is a coworker. I've met the dude once or twice at office party type events, but never really talked to him. I never saw him hanging out with my wife or showing interest in her. But apparently, over the last year or so, she's been spilling all her feelings about her grief over her mom's death to him. And he's been comforting her. He had a parent die from cancer too, so I guess she felt they had a connection she didn't have with me. After I read her the letter, she says she realized that I don't care about her or her mom's death, and went to John's house to talk/be comforted. I flat out asked her if she was having an affair with him, and she told me no. I asked her why she never mentioned she was close friends with this unknown guy, and she told me it was none of my business. I asked her if anything had happened between them while she was there, and she says they cuddled and he held her while she cried. I asked to see her phone to check messages between them, and she refused. I couldn't get much more detail out of her about the whole situation, so when she went to take a shower, I tried to check her phone. She had changed her passcode. I grabbed her iPad, which still had my thumbprint biometric signature in it, and checked there. I left the house with the iPad to look for evidence while she was in the shower. I did not immediately see any messages to or from a John, but after digging briefly, I found it. She had put him in as Stacy in her contacts, but it was obviously him. There were texts going back well over a year. A lot of her talking about her mom, a lot of him comforting her, a lot of him telling her I don't really care about her, and that he would never treat her that way if they were married. All of her replies were in agreement. A lot of texts from her complaining about me. A lot of him trash-talking me. The night she left, she had texted him, "Fuck it, I'm on my way over if the offer is still there," followed by an immediate "yes!" reply. Then the next morning, a text from her to him saying, if he asks, we just talked. I threw up out my car door in a Walmart parking lot for 20 minutes. I came home and found her on the couch on her phone, seemingly unconcerned or unaware I had even left. I told her that I knew, and that she needed to leave. Again, she just stared at me for a while, not responding until I got aggravated and told her to get the fuck out of my house. She immediately got up and told me, "John was right about you," and left. I haven't seen her since. I told the kids she went to visit her parents. I don't know what to tell them, but I have to tell them something soon. I don't even know what to do. Ostensibly, I need to divorce her, but going through custody, child support, etc. is dizzying. I feel paralyzed and haven't made a move yet. I know she's lost her mind, and this is probably some kind of psychotic break, but I just can't care anymore. I put on a brave, numb face to go to work, then for my kids at night, and then cry after they go to bed until I fall asleep. I feel like my life is essentially over. I do feel like John took advantage of her vulnerability, but I don't even want to bother trying to get her to see that he's a predator. She chose this over her fucking family that is stuck with her. I don't think I'll be posting any more updates or logging into this account anymore. Editor's note, as of checking back in August of 2024, OP's account has been suspended. I'm marking this as inconclusive. What can you even do in a situation like this? He cared for her for 5 years and did everything that he could to try to help her through the grief that she refused to allow herself to go through. She almost seemingly reveled in allowing herself to be consumed by it and not wanting to get over it. My mind almost wonders if she was purposely holding on to that grief because it was what she had left of her mother. She probably felt alone in her grief, and no matter the help that OP or the kids were giving her, it was probably just compounding it. And John took advantage of that. From the messages that OP read off, it comes across as though John saw an opportunity to further drive a wedge down to get his prize. He enabled her grief purposely, to drive her further and further from her family to get what he wanted, which was her. OP's descriptor of him being a predator who took advantage of her was right on the money. That's exactly what he did. I wouldn't be surprised if in the process of telling her that OP didn't care of her, that he implanted the idea of he just wants you to get over it. He doesn't want you to actually go through your grief. And when OP read that letter, she instead heard what she wanted to hear, the justification for her to be with John. Well, John, enjoy being miserable together, or perhaps you're beginning to find that in the years that it's been that you've bit off more than you could chew. I really hope that in the 3 years that it's been that OP's been able to actually get full custody, because this is just a horrific situation. And he spent 5 years pretty much raising his kids, with her essentially just being a part-time parent. But he didn't complain. He allowed his wife to grieve as much as she possibly could, but he hit a breaking point after 5 years. That's entirely reasonable. Him putting it as caregiver fatigue, that's just exactly what it is. Ugh. God damn. This post was tweeted by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original OP is Dragonfly Meadow, posted August 5th, 2023. I think my friend's Clumsy boyfriend is purposely hurting her. Content warning for domestic abuse. So, my female 26 friend Kay, female 26, has been dating Andrew, male 25, for almost a year now. Honestly, until these last months, I really liked them together, and he's assimilated into our friend group really well. He's been easy to talk to, and is someone who I thought I could be the perfect match to Kay. In the beginning, Andrew has always been known for being clumsy, occasionally spilling on himself, tripping, and sometimes just being an overall goof. We joked he was the poster child of a himbo. It started with a simple mistake, Andrew spilling wine on Kay's outfit. He seemed so apologetic and genuinely sorry. And a couple days later, at a potluck, Andrew bumps into Kay while she was bringing out a salad bowl, causing it to fall on her foot and giving her a pretty nasty bruise. Again, apologetic, but this time just rubbed me the wrong way. It seemed awkward, the way he had bumped into her. Then there was just more of these accidents, like ripping a dress when he was falling trying to catch his balance, dropping a bowl of chocolate ice cream on her shoes, and spilling an ashtray that landed all over her hair. All of this is just giving me a weird feeling, like why does it feel like his clumsiness is getting worse? Recently we were having a movie night. Kay was sitting on the floor, and I had gotten up from the couch to get some more popcorn when I see Andrew walking over with hot tea. I'm thinking, no way I'm going to have her get piping hot tea spilled on her by accident. So I get up and say, "Oh, thanks for grabbing this. Do you mind grabbing me some popcorn since you're closest?" He kind of gets a defensive tone with me saying, "Yeah, but let me give this to Kay first." I said, "No, it's not a problem. I'll give it to her." As sweet as possible, and took the mug out of his hands and gave it to Kay. He seemed kind of distant the whole rest of the evening. I talked with one of my friends in our group just about the tea drama and said that Andrew might have been pissed off, feeling like I was babying him. I think that if he's been prone to hurting his girlfriend, wouldn't he want to avoid situations that could get her seriously hurt? Wouldn't you want a friend to help you? Am I just overthinking this? I want to talk to Kay about my concerns soon because I'm really scared for her. I just want to be wise in how I speak to her because I don't want her to take anything I say the wrong way. Any advice would be helpful. Edit. Okay, after a lot of comments, I reached out to Kay. We're meeting up one-on-one, and I'll talk with her then. I'm still figuring out exactly what I want to say, but you all have been so helpful, and I'll keep you posted on how everything goes. Update. August 6th, 2023. Same post, next day. Hi all, this evening I got a text from Andrew. It seems my friend, who I'll be referring to as Sarah, had told him about the tea situation. He texted, "Hey, just wanted to reach out and let you know that I wasn't pissed with you." I played it cool and just replied, "Hey, no problem, man. Just wanted to make sure all was good with you." He messaged me back that, "LOL, yeah, why wouldn't I be?" I left it alone after that. I reached out to Sarah and asked how the story was relayed to him, and she explained that it sort of came up in conversation. She had told him that I hadn't meant to baby him and hoped I didn't make him pissed by taking away the teacup. Sarah is a fixer, and I think she just wanted any conflict between us to be resolved. While I know she was coming from a good place, I am a bit frustrated to have my words twisted into what she believes happened. I messaged Kay, and we're still hanging out either early Monday or Tuesday. She seems to be fine with me. We had a quick call, but she seems less talkative, which has me nervous. I really hope I didn't screw everything up. After a lot of comments, I've decided I'm going to be careful with my wording. A lot of you have pointed out Andrew could have a medical condition. While I'm a bit skeptical, I will keep this in mind. Hopefully my concerns can be addressed in a way that follows with our conversation. Thank you all for your feedback, even if some was harsh, and to all who have shared domestic violence stories, I'm so sorry you had ever received any mistreatment. You deserve happiness and safety. I'll be posting an update as soon as we have our talk or anything changes. Relevant comments. Clarification. He's only been clumsy with her. In fact, I'd say it's become more focused on her. I was actually going to bring that up in a tangent as the comments literally said exactly what I was about to ask of whether or not the clumsiness is everyone or if it's just her. Sorry, should have been more clear in my writing. Andrew's clumsiness, while apparent, was always self-inflicted, like a small spill or mostly tripping a bit over his feet. It's been only recently with his behavior it's become more pointed towards Kay. Like he's rarely been him being the injured or spilled on party. It's now been only Kay. Does he do it when she's particularly proud of / happy in an outfit? The dress he ripped was one of her favorites, and she's had to go home early because it ripped in the cleavage area, and she was more so embarrassed. The ashtray being dumped on her hair was when she was wearing her hair natural, curly, when she mostly straightens it. But she'll have her hair natural randomly and nothing happens. Also, he totally ruined her white heels with the chocolate ice cream. OP realizes something a few comments later. That's something I've been thinking about and writing it all down. I just realized all of the accidents have to do with her looks. Spilling on her outfits, bumping into her when she's wearing a dress, chocolate ice cream on her shoes. Those were white heels. I know it's just speculation. Someone else said it could be a Munchausen by proxy situation. Overall, it just solidifies that I just need to talk to her, which I am this week. Also, her reaction to these accidents is always quick to try to move on. She's somewhat introverted and doesn't like attention, so she's just quick to say she's fine and move on from it. She'll tell Andrew that she forgives him and just to be careful. This seems sinister because it seems like he's trying to see what he can get away with. That's what has been hard. I felt like I've been the only friend to notice. Like, no one else seems to want to believe that Andrew's doing this on purpose because we've known him to be this clumsy guy. I mean, who wants to believe someone's doing this on purpose? Does this happen in front of others or also with just the two of them? From what I understand, he's always had these accidents in front of friends, not when it's the two of them. And whenever it happens, he gets really apologetic and he's never laughed about it. But it just feels so weird, like he's being so over the top, like he once said, "I would hate myself if I seriously hurt you." I don't know, that just came off so odd to me for his usual character who's typically a silly guy. Honestly, I'd be really curious how close in proximity that comment was said. Like, was it a few days before or after the tea situation? Because if there's one way to seriously injure someone, it's pouring scalding liquid on them. I almost wonder if he's purposely sabotaging her outfits or hurting her so that way they both go home if he doesn't want to be in an environment. That would also explain why he was so moody and not quite himself after his potential plan failed. Update post, August 8th, 2023, 3 days from the original post. Hi all, sorry for the delay, a lot has gone on. So, I talked to Kay this morning. I started off the conversation normal. When Kay says, "Hey, why were you concerned about Andrew bringing me tea?" I just say, "I had noticed he'd been more clumsy lately, and I wanted to avoid either of you getting hurt." She was quiet for a bit, then asks me, "Do you think it's odd how he's been acting?" Considering all your advice, I responded with, "I care about you and want you to be safe. I don't want to hurt you or Andrew, but I feel like most of the accidents have come at your expense. I don't want it to get to a point where you have a worse injury." This is when Kay burst out crying like I have never seen. After composing herself enough to talk, she says she's been so suspicious of how these accidents have been centered around her and how validating it was to have someone feel the same way. It's been causing her a lot of anxiety, and she felt so relieved when I took the cup of tea away from him. She has tried to suggest to Andrew that he should go to a doctor, but he just says he's perfectly fine. Kay is not confrontational, so she just drops it. She said how recently Sarah, Andrew, and her were all hanging out together. Sarah told Andrew I was so upset about how he was hesitant to hand me the cup of tea. A completely different story from what Sarah told me. I have been more open with my emotions in the post due to anonymity, but in person, I was very casual about the situation. I said something along the lines of, "Hey, did you think I upset Andrew by taking the tea when I asked him to get me popcorn? I hope I didn't come off rude." Then Kay told me something really disturbing. How during this conversation, Andrew and Sarah started joking about Kay being a battered wife. How ridiculous the idea would be if Andrew was really abusing her, and some really dark jokes. This had Kay feeling like she was crazy to think that those accidents might be on purpose. Also, they had said some things about me that made her so upset she couldn't even tell me. Kay said she's felt trapped, living with him, and how he's intertwined in our group. She felt like she needed to wait to have proof he was faking it to make it worth a bunch of drama. I feel horrible that she's felt so alone in this. I was pretty blunt and just asked, "Do you still love him?" She responded, "I don't. I think I don't even like him anymore." So we talked about the best way for Kay to leave Andrew, being as safe as possible. Kay called in sick to work, and we went over to her house and talked with our friend Leah, her roommate. Andrew was at work, so we quickly moved all of her things into Leah's room. She has a key to her door. Anything that was super sentimental to either of them, we packed in my car. Kay is going to stay at my house, and Leah wanted to stay with a family member who lives not too far away. Kay has written a letter to Andrew, ending things. She's going full no contact. She set a date that she expects him to leave. He moved in with them, so he doesn't have his name on the lease. Our friends Mike and Corey will be staying at the house. This is to ensure nothing will be damaged due to an accident. Also to let Kay and Leah know when it's safe to come back. Thank you all so much for your advice. Tomorrow I plan to go on a little shopping spree with Kay, doing everything I can to alleviate her anxiety. So far we know Andrew has seen the note and is packing to leave. So far so good. If anything happens, I'll be sure to update you all. Relevant comments! What the fuck is up with Sarah? This is what is so odd to me. I said Sarah was a fixer because she has always been the mom friend, wanting everyone to be safe and happy. I've never noticed anything between them, just normal banter we all have with one another. I just don't know why she's going to bat for him so hard. We had a call where she was mean, to put it mildly. She was very angry at me, like I was the one who caused all this, as well as some very personal attacks. I think Andrew is telling her something because this isn't who I knew her to be at all. Or maybe she has always been, but has simply masked it. Did Kay ever tell you what Sarah said about you? I told Kay vaguely about what Sarah said on the phone call and asked if it was similar, and she confirmed. Being vague as possible, it has to do with my family's issues with addiction and situations happening due to that. I had told our friends in confidence, knowing she's used it to weaponize it against me, and has told Andrew has my skin crawl. Other friends and their reactions to Kay and Sarah. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad too. Kay is safe and we will do all we can to keep it that way. All of our friends, except Sarah, have been a huge help in Kay's healing during this time. It's been amazing to be a part of and witness. We've all since blocked her. Her comments towards Kay and me have not been tolerated by our group. Hopefully this is the wake-up call she needs. In regards to safety, luckily I found this comment again because thanks to this, we bought one of those camera detectors, waiting for it to arrive still. They have 4 months left in their lease and are considering moving, but nothing is set in stone. He's already moved out and Mike and Corey had him hand over the key to the apartment. But we're still waiting till locks are changed and the detector arrived to help Kay and Leah move back in. Update post, August 22nd, 2023, 2 weeks from the last post, 2.5 weeks from the original post. Final update to this post. First off, Kay is safe. I wanted to thank everyone for their advice. It has been a huge help. Per someone's comment, we got the detector that finds hidden cameras. Mike and Corey searched everywhere and found nothing. They also have searched for spyware on Kay's phone and laptop, also looked for tracking devices, and nothing was found. Locks have since been changed, and after a lot of consideration, Kay and Leah have decided to not move due to financial reasons, but for their safety, they've decided to have Mike live with them. He works remote, so he doesn't have to leave for work and will be at the house most of the time, so Kay and Leah wouldn't be home alone. Corey got a Ring camera for Kay. Also, our friend group have code words and safety questions with Kay, which I really recommend anyone leaving a domestic violence situation do. So, last week Sarah had dropped by one of our friends' house to leave a letter for Kay in her mailbox. It was very odd. It was written from both Sarah and Andrew's perspectives, saying how hurt they were, that the way they've been treated was so unfair, that it isn't healthy to go from being someone's everything to just shutting them out entirely. They said how they were happier without outside influences and hoped Kay could find the freedom they had found together. They stated a lot of gross comments about personal struggles of myself and others in the friend group to paint us as crazy people. They ended it with how they just wanted to move on, that this was their goodbye, and that they would welcome her back if she ever wanted to reach out to them, but would respect her wishes to go no contact. We all don't know if this is their way of saying they're together or what. It's incredibly odd. Some of our friends think it's an invitation to an open relationship. Either way, we haven't heard from them since. Kay has opened up with her counselor and us about her stories with Andrew. She has come to believe his accidents were a tactic to control her appearance. Apparently, he had a thing for a certain aesthetic and would want her to dress in that way. Behind the scenes, he would remark how her looks wouldn't show off her figure, and how it would be more flattering for her to wear a certain aesthetic because it would just look better. He would even make jokes about her outfits and overall style. When she would tell him to stop, he would get apologetic and say he was just trying to be funny. There are other factors as well, but that would risk Kay's anonymity, but all revolved around her appearance. Kay is amazing. She's been so strong throughout this process. She said it feels like a heavy burden has been lifted. She's truly special and deserves true peace and happiness. Our friend group has really gone above and beyond to support Kay, which is the least we can do. Thank you all for pushing me to say something. It validated what Kay and a lot of our friends were feeling. I will let you know if anything changes, but hopefully Sarah and Andrew will leave Kay alone. Relevant comments. The letter. Yeah, it was really odd. It's also typed, so I don't know if they both wrote it together or if one of them wrote it. More on Sarah. I have no clue what's going on with her, and it's been really sad for all of us to somewhat mourn who we thought she was. I go back and forth on if it has always been who she is or if Andrew has this weird influence over her. So when it comes to Sarah, my personal pet theory is that she inserted herself as the mom in the friend group to have more control over the personal interactions and kind of being able to play keeper, essentially, making it so that way the friend group was dependent on her. Not saying this is the case, but I've seen it and dealt with it before, and it gets nasty and ugly, especially with the fact that she's weaponizing things that were told in confidence against others, and saying one thing to one person, but twisting and shaping it to another thing, and having that much kind of control over the interactions. Essentially building up feuds so that way she's in this perfect position of, well, the middle party, but actually shaping things around it, so she can cut people off when she wants to. It just fumbled in this situation, as it does with a lot of people who try to have this kind of approach to friendships, where it does eventually come out in the wash and people find out. As a final note, weaponizing someone's trauma against them as a reason why they shouldn't be trusted is, well, for starters, just extremely disgusting, but also telling. If those friends are well-adjusted, despite what they've gone through in life, I'm going to be more inclined to trust their opinions because they've been there, they've done that, and they probably have a good perspective. Part of me almost wonders if Sarah and Andrew know that A, because they have that experience, they'd be able to clock their behavior and give Kay a way out or help her understand what's going on, or B, they see them as damaged goods, so obviously their perspective on life is going to be tainted and not worth listening to. Obviously, it's just worth pushing them aside. Either way, in those extremes, they're both disgusting people. I mean, they brought it up, and there's a reason for them bringing it up. Weaponizing it against their friends because they don't like the current direction the conversation's going against them. Just vile. It is awesome, though, that Kay has a support system in her friends that were able to clock this and help her, and make sure that she was able to safely get out of this situation and still have a support network put in place. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is deleted. Posted May 8th, 2014. I, 25 male, missed my girlfriend, 22 female, of 2 years mom's funeral because of finals week, and now she wants a break from this relationship. I'm going to school about 7 hours away from where my girlfriend lives. Her mother recently passed away after a short illness. The morning that it happened, my girlfriend called me to tell me about it, and I dropped everything and took the first available bus down to see her, and stayed for almost a week. The next week, this one, is my finals week, and I had a final exam on the day of the funeral, yesterday. I made it clear that I would be unable to attend, as I had already lost a week of study/writing time. She said, I understand. I come back up to my school and start applying for jobs in her area so I can live there over the summer. I get a phone interview and set up an in-person interview for this coming Tuesday, which means another 7-hour overnight bus ride. Meanwhile, we're texting every day, and we Skype once. I notice she's less talkative than usual, and is saying, I love you less often. I ask her about 3 times over Skype if there's anything she would like to talk about, and she always says no. So I chalk it up to depression over the death of her mother. I get worried and start looking up ways I can support her, and most articles I read just say to make sure to be there for her in the long run. I apologize several times for not being able to make it to the funeral, and every time she just says, I understand. Come yesterday, she messages me in the morning saying, you should be here. I again apologize, saying I would if I could. She replies, you could be. I would have done anything to be there for you. I start to freak out a bit and explain that I'm already stressed because of the chunk I had to take out last week, and the amount of money I just spent on bus tickets for the interview. And she tells me not to come down for the interview because she needs a break from this relationship, and I don't want to see you. I send a wall of text profusely apologizing and explaining I didn't realize it was that important. Come on. I send a wall of text profusely apologizing and explaining I didn't realize it was that important to her that I be there, and I only hope that she can forgive me someday. And her only response was, I will never forgive you for this. Now she's been ignoring me, and I'm at a complete loss what to do. I just want to talk it over in person, but she told me not to come down. Help. Too long didn't read, my girlfriend wanted me at her mother's funeral. I stupidly didn't realize how important it was to her, and now she wants a break. Edit. I suppose my main question would be, should I go down and see her this weekend? Edit. Since many people are asking, the only available time to rearrange the final was Tuesday morning. Then I had to devote Monday to working/studying for a different final. In hindsight, I should have just crammed as much as possible and taken whatever grade I got. The major point is that it works be at least 2 days out of the final when I still have one more final tomorrow and several more papers to write. I am so sorry, I was struggling to parse what that sentence meant to be. Relevant comments, possibly a coyote. This sounds like a relationship ender. Sorry, dude. I know it's not fair, but the grieving process often does that. User terrible comments. If it's not a relationship ender now, it most likely will be later. Deleted comments. That's not something you get over, and it's an argument winner. You left the milk out. You skipped my mother's funeral. Comment from user Tropfow. It was extremely heartless of you to bring up cost of bus tickets and lost time from studying at a time when your girlfriend's mother died. Why would she care about such things? This relationship is probably over. When she said, you should have been here, you should have said, I know and I wish I could have. Bringing up bus ticket costs and the fact that you lost a week of studying was beyond tacky. And did you ask your professor if you could take it a little early? Your girlfriend probably feels unvalued, and I don't know if this is something that can be fixed. Grief is a terrible thing, and this might just be the end of your relationship, for better or worse. Update, September 2nd, 2014, 4 months later. A bit of time has gone by since I posted the original, and I've had a few requests to update the situation. The reason I hadn't done so was because things were still in flux, final decisions have been made, and so I'm closing the case. A forewarning, I have omitted several details. Some have been removed or censored for privacy, some have been omitted due to shame on my part. I am going to try to be honest, but honestly, I fucked up. Please be kind. I don't really deserve it, but believe me, anything bad you can think about me or insult to say to me, I've already done to myself. Too long didn't read of the original. I missed the funeral of my partner's mother to take a final exam. She was understandably hurt and upset and wanted a break. I was going to take a bus down to Milwaukee to apologize in person and try to repair things. So, I told her I was going to bus down to see her, and I hoped she would be at the station to get me. Otherwise, I would take the next bus back. As a reminder, this weekend that I wanted to be there for was Mother's Day, which I knew was going to be really difficult. I figured it was better to be there and be not wanted than to not be there and be needed. She responded and said she would be there. Long story short, I stayed for a few days, during which time we talked about things a few times. I was under the impression that the situation was improving, but just before I left on the bus back to school, she told me in no uncertain terms that she wasn't sure about a relationship right now, and she was still really hurt. I leave. Time passes. She travels to the UK with her family to have a memorial service there, and she ends up staying there for several weeks to care for her aging nan, Grandma. We talk on the phone a few times. I found a UK calling plan for super cheap, and Skyped a few times. I try to stay positive for her because she was pretty depressed, and she seemed very distant, not just geographically. I try not to talk to her about any of my feelings and anxieties of our relationship because I didn't want to burden her. Instead, I wrote her a journal. Anytime I wanted to talk to her about something, I wrote her a letter in this journal. I had bought her 2 for her birthday so we could both have 1 for just such a purpose. One day, finally, I asked her why she was so distant. She told me that she was still really hurting and feeling betrayed. I read her the letters I had written her, she thanked me for that, and we ended our conversation on ostensibly better terms. She flew back to the States, and we continued to do our long-distance thing. She was getting more and more distant, and I was writing her more and more letters. Then one day, she gets drunk and messages me a bunch of really lovely messages, stuff she hasn't said to me since before her mom died. After a few hours of that, though, the tone gets a lot more somber, and then suddenly, she tells me she doesn't think she can do this relationship anymore. I ask her why, and she says because she's not sure about the 2 years apart thing. She's still upset about the funeral and her family doesn't like me. She apologized later and said her family doesn't not like me, but... I was supposed to be visiting the coming weekend, but she told me not to come. She was going to be visiting my school town, she graduated the year before, to see some friends, and we were going to go to a wedding together in about 10 days. Long story short, it's almost over, I promise. She visits, she has second thoughts about breaking up, we go to this wedding, she agrees to give our relationship another go, we have a great time together, except, and here's the part where I get real shitty, she asks me if there's anything I'm hiding, because I cheated on her when we first started dating and lied to her about smoking weed. I know, seriously, I know. And I tell her that I had told what is essentially her deepest, darkest secret to a friend. I obviously can't tell you what this secret is, but it affected both of us, though it affected her the most, and it was deep, and it was dark. She takes it really well, and we continued on. A while later, she texts me and asks if I told anyone else her deepest, darkest secret. I told her I had also told one of my roommates. You know what, go ahead, be mean, I deserve it. She got pretty upset for a few days, but seemed to forgive me. I visited her once, and then shortly after visited her again with a couple of friends. The latter time, she was pretty distant, and she had been over text and Skype as well. A few days after that, she texted me and asked how I thought the relationship was going. I told her it was cold, but felt like it was improving, and asked what she thought. She didn't respond, so I asked if she wanted to Skype, and she said yes. We Skyped, and unsurprisingly, we ended it. She said she wanted to be with me and loved me, but she was just so angry about all the betrayal. She said I had been the perfect boyfriend the last few weeks, and the relationship was healing, but she wasn't. We're attempting to be friends right now. It's been about 2 weeks. She really wants to be friends, and I really want to be more than friends. She tried really hard to stay with me and forgive me, so I owe her at least an attempt at being just friends. I'm confident that this relationship is over, so I guess I'm not really asking for relationship advice, except maybe, should I try to be friends with her? Too long didn't read, being the perfect boyfriend didn't make up for a series of stupid mistakes and selfishness. So, you not only told her deepest, darkest secret to one of your friends, but also your roommate. You cheated on her in the past, and you didn't attend the mother's funeral. I could understand not being able to attend the funeral because your professor won't let you move the exam date, or something along those lines happened, and you're kind of just locked in this no-win situation, and you cause hurt that way. Like, at least in that scenario, it's just the standpoint of, I got screwed over by horrific timing, I'm so sorry. But as that commenter pointed out, he brought up the cost of bus fare, he brought up the cost of not being able to study. As if that would justify to his girlfriend who just lost her mother why he's unable to attend. Then on top of that, while she's away, she finds out that her secrets have been exposed, and we find out that he's been dishonest and cheated on her in the past in the relationship. Not to mention, it probably crossed her mind that he was only being the perfect boyfriend when the relationship was on death's door, and it's only then when he was beginning to put in that effort. So yeah, I don't blame her for not being able to reconcile and just walking away. Plus, OP really kind of buried the lead in some areas too. Oh hey, it's the outro. You know, you kind of remind me of someone. I think their name was like Audience. That's who. You remind me of Audience. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I heard they were awesome and all that kind of stuff. Insert adjectives that properly describe you here that would make you blush. Damn, I got what the kids call Riz. Wait, do they still use Riz nowadays, or is there like a new lingo to replace that? I have no idea. Anyways, code eyes at checkout with gamer subs. Damn, I am saying this really late in the outro. But please do that, because that'd be super cool. If you want caffeine and stuff, I highly recommend it. It supports the channel directly, and it makes me feel happy. So hey, everyone wins. You get cheaper caffeine, and I get I can't do this bit anymore. But seriously, code Oz at checkout. If that's something you're interested in, I'd recommend it. If not, no worries. You can always support the channel through membership, subscribing, liking, commenting, or, all the YouTube buttons. Click them all! Oh, and if you have the ability to hype the video, you should totally do that too. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time.